It's Wednesday, and it's time for the Contrarians live chat. We are here. We are ready to go. We want to hear from you. The topic tonight, Time Machine album covers. So without any further ado, let's get started. Hey, welcome everybody. Yes, like I said, it is Wednesday and it's time for the Contrarians live chat. The topic tonight, Time Machine album covers. The panel's here. We are ready. And what we're going to do is go 3, 3, and 4. And I'm going to start out with Jamie, Martin, Peter Kerr, Pete Pardo, and me. And we're just going to keep going around. So we want to hear from you in the chat too. So we will try to get to you. So please tell us. You're probably looking at the title going, Time Machine album covers. Well, it'll all come together here in a second. Jamie Laszlo, start us off.
Yes, we're going to try to pick some album covers that look old-timey or go back in time somehow. I don't think we're doing the future. That might be a future episode.
Well, you could.
Yeah, I'm going to start with Cadaver because look at these guys. They look like they're from 1972. Pete and I did a ranking video on Sea of Tranquility with these guys. You might be asking, why do you have two, Laszlo? I couldn't find my CD copy one day, and I really wanted to hear it, so I just ordered another one. And then before I got here, I found it. And then I was like, the hell with it. I'll just...
Murphy's Law.
Yeah. You know, they sound like they're from the 70s, too, of course. Now I'm going to go to a different kind of hard rock. You know, I'm not a big power metal guy. But these guys kind of go right to the edge, but don't get too annoying. That is Visigoth. Now we're going way back in time, like to Camelot time, Knights of the Round Table type thing. And you got this chick here, and she's doing something. I don't know what the hell she's doing, but it's pretty badass looking. What is that? What century would that be? I don't even know.
I'll go with 14th.
14th century. And we're gonna do 3.
Century. Yeah, we're doing 3.
Damn it, but my next 2 were a pair. All right, that's all right.
Well, we just split.
We have a
I'll
perfect
figure
pair,
it
right,
out.
Martin?
If I know you're talking, I can find your stuff. So go ahead.
Okay, then I'll just go with this one instead. Can
Yeah.
you pull up Social D?
Okay.
Social Distortion with the old time family, probably from the 1930s on there on the front porch. Hanging out, Dad's looking at the crops, going, "Time to water those corn hawks."
Nice.
All right, excellent. All right, Martin, let's throw it over to you.
All right. Well, just want to mention a few people checking in here. We got Gary Joyce, David Latham, Gareth Thomas. Let's see. We've got a mention for Sleep Dope Smoker here. Any Cali cover, Rush Time Machine. Yeah, okay. Ashley, okay, all right. Not too many examples coming in at this point.
Oh, they will though.
Here. What the thinker?
I'm going to start off with Typo Negative and Dead Again with Rasputin on the cover. Good old Rasputin was hard to kill. Eventually got killed. Somewhere around the Russian Revolution. But yeah, that's a pretty stark image on a Typo cover. And then I just thought, well, I had this as well, so I had the DVD kind of slipcover version of it in red. And then I looked at their other covers, and only this one looked kind of old timey, like an old, an old 30s, 40s movie sort of thing. So that's my Typo Negative. My next one is the Dukes of Stratosphere. Good old XTC in disguise as a true blue psych band from the 60s. So we've got 25 O'Clock, which is just made to look as totally psych as the album itself. Look at the back. There's the guys made to look like total psych guys. So that was their EP, but even their album looked pretty psychy. And then I thought, well, I got XTC handy. Let's see what else we've got. So they were telegraphing that sort of thing already here on, or this is this is actually later, but Oranges and Lemons, I think it's later. But that's looking totally psych. And then we've got really old with the chalk horse thing, on the English countryside from English Settlement. And this looks old timey. Your kind of old timey scuba diving guys, and then we've got King for a Day, which is your old medieval time thing. So I cheated a few in there. My last one, I promise, doesn't have a cheat at all. We only got a single here. Blue Oyster Cult Spectres. I've always loved this cover. So this looks like, a bunch of guys in the 1930s or whatever hanging out, plotting some secret society thing. You've got the little Blue Oyster Cult symbol, which is really coolly placed just down on the crystal ball down in the corner. But yeah, they're all dressed in period things, so sitting in a den there, plotting some really cool move, and on the back the lasers are going and all that kind of thing. So yeah, that's my third.
Super awesome. All right, Peter Kerr, let's throw it over to you.
Okay, I'm going to start off with Biff and the Lads with Saxon Crusader from 1983. So this really fits this topic to a T. And I love the band logo. I think that would have suited well last week, Martin. I don't think it's too pencil case art, but it's kind of got that medieval look and feel to it. Yeah. Saxon Power and the Glory, that was another one where they had that sort of pseudo-medieval feel. But all of the Saxon album covers, or the majority, are very much in that old-time sort of feel and would fit this topic down.
Yeah.
So, all right. Go to the next one. Got to have a little bit of Richie Blackmore. Got to have a little bit of Rainbow. And the first album, Rainbow.
Yep.
Richie Blackmore's Rainbow, where you've got the castle, which is actually a guitar. I just think this is just so neat. I love this album cover, so it's really good. And
I've never noticed that it was a guitar.
Yeah.
It took me decades to notice it.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Funny.
And an honorable mention to, in my view, the greatest hard rock album of all time, Rainbow Rising, which would fit into this theme as well. The medieval type feel and sort of goes into the fantasy feel. So Rainbow Rising, love it.
That's like a German symbolist style painting, right? German, Austrian, Belgian, a little bit of the, Jam Turner. So yeah, it's got definitely that old classic late 1800s sort of painting style in it, right?
Yeah. And it's easily the most iconic Rainbow album cover. You see it on T-shirts to this very day.
Yeah.
All right. So stylistically changing, my next stream was about past world wars, and we go to the English band The Jam, and this is Setting Suns, which was their fourth studio album. I think this is kind of a heroic sort of album cover. So it's a bronze statue of the St. John ambulance bearers in World War I. So a wounded soldier being carried by some ambulance workers. So it gives a bit of a heroic feel to the band. The Jam, not well known in the States, but in the UK, they were huge, fronted by Paul Weller, and they had a bit of a hit in Australia with a town called Malice. So that's my third pick. The Jam.
Nice. All right. Well, before we get to our guest of honor, Pete Pardo, we've got a mention here for Letters to Cleo, Aurora. Let's see, Alice, almost a 50s throwback in the 90s. We've got Klaatu, Hope, and Magentalaine. Nectar, Time Machine. One for Peter Kerr here. Sherbet. Good old Sherbet. Time Change, a natural progression. Armored Saint, March of the Saints, basically your Saxon type cover. Grand Funk Railroad Survival, Outlaws, the debut, most Molly Hatched albums. Yeah, more on that later. And more on one of these other ones later in mine. Thunder 7 from Triumph as well, we've got a mention for. So anyways, Pete, you're up.
Super.
Cool. All right, so I'm going to go start it off with an album from 1982, Utopia's Swing to the Right.
Oh, yeah.
So here, this is actually a retouching, obviously, because they've got the actual album there, the Swing to the Right album. This is an old photo from a Beatles album burning session from Waycross, Georgia in 1967. This made it to a lot of local newspapers, and it was kind of like a big deal. It was like this little uprising against records and rock music, and specifically the Beatles. So in the original picture, this was a Beatles album. They were just throwing it all into the bonfire. So here we got Utopia from 1982, going back to 1967 for that one. Next up, probably the most famous of all the ones I'm going to show today. So from 1969, Led Zeppelin 1.
Yeah.
Who can forget the German Zeppelin Hindenburg, photographed May 6th, 1937 by Sam Sphere. as it was trying to land in Lakehurst, New Jersey, here on the East Coast. And ironically, this image also tied to the name of the band, which was basically given to them by both Keith Moon and John Entwistle from the Who. So
Nice.
Going back to pre-World War I there. And my number 3 is going to be So Long Bannatyne from the Guess Who, 1971. So here we've got, we may see some other cars and vehicles today, but this is a old 57 Chevy, right? Manitoba license plates, photographed in front of the Bannatyne apartment complex in the band's hometown of Winnipeg up in Canada. And I guess this was meant to kind of depict moving from one of the band members moving from the city back to the old home country, right? But with an old style 57 Chevy. So my first.
Nice.
All right.
Very cool.
Excellent.
Very cool.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with a cover that we have seen before in the past, but this one I'm going to go with Neil Young Trans. I keep bringing Neil Young Trans up, but this is a nod to the future and to the past. You know, think about this. This is what came out in 1982. Neil was looking ahead. Electric cars. I'm just saying. This is time travel all over. And then my second one is it's a theme. We're talking Neil Young and the Shocking Pinks. Everybody's rocking from 1983. So Neil is going back even further.
Nice.
You know, this whole Geffen era is a little bit questionable, but I don't know. I don't really have a problem with any of the Geffen stuff. It's just Neil being Neil. And then my number 3, we're going back to a band that was part of that whole original San Francisco scene. This is one of those failed bands. I mean, they were around for years playing, and they dressed in these 19th century outfits, the Charlatans. But they finally put a record out in 1969. Dan Hicks from Dan Hicks Hot Licks used to be in the band. He's not on this record though. He'd already left, but they did finally put a record out, and it's not very good. But they did carry this theme of wearing 19th century costumes all through their career. So there you go. That's my 3.
Grant, there was another band called the Charlatans, very big in the UK.
Yeah.
So
Here they put the UK on the end to differentiate. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But they didn't wear 19th century costumes.
No.
Are you not confusing them with the Chameleons? The Chameleons UK? Or did the Charlatans do that too?
No.
Charlatans did that too.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, cool. All right. Jamie Laszlo, you're up. Your number, I guess this would be your number 4.
All right. I wish I had a time machine so I could go back in time and not spend the money on Neil Young's Trans.
Oh, I love Trans.
My $6.99.
Davey and I did a show on Trans. We love Trans.
Okay. This next 2 has a theme, old school horror sci-fi movies. And it's like being on the Monsters Den, Pete. I'm going to go with Aerosmith, Music from Another Dimension, which kind of looks like an old school B movie poster for a sci-fi movie. You know what this looks like, though? It reminds me of Thomas Dolby's The Aliens Ate My Buick, or whatever the hell the name of that album is. So there you go. And I'm going to go with a drive-in horror movie type feel with Bloody Hammers, Songs of Unspeakable ... Terror. And as you can see, it kind of looks like an old school album with the weird demonic rites and the occult coven of the dead ! And they have the old cars in front of the drive-in there, and there's the devil. So Bloody Hammers. And my next one is an awful album. It's Old School Christmas Time.
Oh, God.
With Bob Dylan's Christmas in the Heart. Now, you might be thinking, how bad is a Bob Dylan Christmas album? It's pretty bad. It's pretty unlistenable.
Was there ever any doubt, Jamie? Was there ever any doubt? Come on.
I've never even seen it before. That's how bad it is.
Yeah,
I never heard of it.
Most Dylan fans aren't a fan of it at all. I bought, I knew it existed for years and years and never bought it. And then I found it for $1. And I was like, what the hell? I'll get it as a novelty type thing in my collection. Yeah. But it's got the old school Christmassy thing going on the cover.
Is that a real album?
Oh, yes. You want me to burn it for you and mail it to you?
Jamie has this.
I burn it and mail the ashes to you?
Maybe not.
Nice. All right.
All right,
We've got a mention here for Earthshaker Midnight Flight, Lucifer's Friend Banquet. Yeah, that's a pretty weird looking one. Loudness Crazy Samurai. D Rocker's got Journey Look into the Future here. We've got Loudness Sunburst mentioned here. Saxon Call to Arms. Yeah, that's a good one with the big handlebar mustache. The old 1910s looking type photo on that. Magnum on a Storyteller's Night. Back to our mythical times. Stray Cats Built for Speed. Yeah, I guess any rockabilly thing is going to look like it's from the 50s, right?
Yeah.
Roxy Music Avalon for your old warrior, your Wishbone Ash Argus type warrior, right? Idea. Pink Floyd Relics, Steely Dan Pretzel Logic. All right. ZZ Top Afterburner. Yeah, the ZZ Top car is old too. So, all right. So for my next three, my first one is Accept Russian Roulette. So I've always liked this album cover. I think it's pretty cool. That's a great photo shoot. I love the expressions on the guys' faces. It's mixing, the term Russian roulette with kind of like the Russian Revolution, I suppose. And we know Accept has those Russian sort of vocal harmonies in their songs, kind of a running joke with those guys, right? And being big over there and that. And on the back, you've got kind of the cleared out scene and you got the table there. So that looks really cool. But yeah, great album cover. And the guys play the part rather well. They should have been actors. Let's see. Next, we've got The Clash with London Calling. So this is retro for a couple reasons. I mean, The Clash always dressed and looked kind of retro. They had a little bit of that rockabilly look sometimes with the slick back hair. But the main reason is this is a throwback to Elvis Presley's debut album cover with the same green and pink lettering down the side like that. So that looks really retro. But yeah, even the band on the back, I mean, that looks like just any 50s show rather than a punk show of any sort, right?
Yeah.
And they look pretty punky there. And I thought, well, what else do The Clash have? And they have this. So you've got the I guess it's an old like prospector dude out in the desert, although on the back it's more this kind of thing, but that's definitely quite historical looking. Let's see. And I got one more. This one's a bit subtle, but the Fist Fleet Street. I picked this just because when do I ever get to talk about Fist, right? This is a pretty heavy Canadian band. Had a few albums out. This is their best album by far. But yeah, this Fleet Street refers to Sweeney Todd, the demon barber of Fleet Street, kind of a fictitious Victorian times character. You know, you'd sit in the barber chair and then he'd slit your throat. So he's like this murdering dude. And the song is all about that. It's a great song. And there you see his barber chair and you've got the barber pole down the side. Yeah, so that's my three.
All right, cool. All right, Peter Kerr.
Interesting band name, Martin Fist.
It took me a while to find that record, by the way.
Well, speaking of weird names, they had to be called Myo Fist for some reason in the States. So MYO Fist. I don't know. I'm not sure the story of that. I've interviewed him once or a couple of the guys, but yeah, good band. Interesting band. All the albums sound fairly different to each other, but this one's sort of the classic. Good gruff vocals. They were also, I think, a Winnipeg band.
Yeah, I think Sebastian Bach was in a reality show and they were putting a supergroup together and the name of the band that they were going to do was Fist. Oh, so that's why I instantly thought of that. So
you would have totally knew them. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right. Just going back on my World War theme, Survivor, the self-titled debut from 1979. I just put it up because I just think it's a really engaging album cover. No other reason. And it goes back to the 1940s. So I like that album cover a lot. Nice. So let's change style. We're going to go to just retro, maybe 60s, the like, with their album Release Me. So this came out in 2010. This band is, how would you describe it? A combination. It sounds like the Shangri-Las backed up by the Kinks. They're sort of power pop or garage rock. And I like the album cover. It's sort of like, reminds you of those Phil Spector groups like the Ronettes or the Shangri-Las.
So is that an Australian group? I've never heard of it. No?
They're American, 2 albums on Geffen label, and I saw them in Australia. They supported the Strokes, and I really
cool.
I mean, I bought the album. So it's really worth tracking down, folks, if you like that Bangles, power pop, garage rock.
Excellent.
Recommended.
All right.
All right, and then let's put a little bit of Devo. Question, are we not men? Answer, we are Devo. So this reminds me of the days of Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, and that old style golfing. So I just put it up there, just, it's got that sort of 60s feel. But this is Devo's debut, and I love Devo, and I love this album. So I thought this really fits into the retro.
Nice.
Certainly
Wow, we got to
does.
mention here that's apparently Kim Basinger on the Survivor cover. Interesting.
Is it?
Oh,
we,
do you want to?
we got to mention
Oh,
for
wow.
Iron Maiden, Power Slave. Yeah, back to Egyptian times. Black Keys, El Camino. Let's see, we got Styx, Big Bang Theory, says Gary Joyce. D Rocker says Steve Hackett, Voyage of the Acolyte. Billy Idol, Cyberpunk, like 1984 retro future Gibson stuff. Fleetwood Mac, Rumors. Kind of in the old clothes and stuff, right? King Crimson Islands. Let's see, Hawkwind, Hall of the Mountain Grill. Best ever songs from the Tubes. Rage Against the Machine, self-titled. Yeah, that's that tragic historic photo. Guy lighting himself on fire. Earthshaker, Midnight Flight. Yeah, and we're back to the old ones. Anyways, Pete,
All
take
right,
it
here
away.
we go.
Isn't Islands just outer space? A picture of
Yeah, I
outer
was kind of wondering about that myself.
a galaxy far,
Mm,
far away.
Is that not the one with two different covers?
No,
No, I don't think so.
What's the one with two different covers? I can't
I
remember.
don't know. All right. So, okay, I'm ready.
Well, what's older than outer space, right?
Yeah, true.
See, it counts.
Yeah.
We can count that.
In the beginning.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Well, I figured at least one of my picks had to be taking a look back at the prehistoric times, right? So let's go with Grand Funk Railroad's 1971 album Survival, where they're sitting here in a cave dressed like prehistoric men or cavemen, right?
Yeah.
Why not? Next up, I'm going to go to 1986, Paul McCartney's Press to Play. So the guy who took this photograph was a old school photographer of Hollywood actors and actresses back in the 30s and 40s, a guy named George Hurrell. So what he did was he used the actual camera, same camera that he used back in those days that he would photograph all the big stars. And Paul and Linda kind of did themselves up with the hair and the costume to look like a movie star from the golden era. So that's kind of cool.
That's thinking outside the box.
Yeah, a little bit, right? Yeah.
Looks like that typo negative cover too, Martin.
Yeah. It
Yes,
does.
a little bit, right?
A variation of it. Yeah.
Yep,
Hold
yep.
that up again. There we go.
Yeah. Same,
Yes.
Same kind of idea.
I like the typo
Yeah.
negative one better.
See, pretty much. And my third choice here in this round is from 1974, El Dorado by the Electric Light Orchestra. I mean, here you got a little frame from the film, Dorothy's Slippers from The Wizard of Oz from 1939. So kind of keep it in the Hollywood theme for these last two here. So,
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Good one.
Excellent choices. Okay. Number 4. Okay, here we go. I thought that I was sure someone was going to pick this, but no one did. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Deja Vu, 1970 has that Civil War type of setting. It looks like a tin type photo. I was certain someone would pick this. So,
And the photo's like glued onto the cover, the
Yeah.
original album cover too.
yeah, might be a dumb question, but have you ever seen any like later pressings? Were they all like that?
Good question.
I would have thought maybe like
I
the
would think
issues they would have
maybe
cheapened it.
Probably
but I
not.
thought-
Yeah.
But that's an expensive album cover to produce if you think about it.
yeah.
I don't know. All right, and then
Definitely not like that in Spotify. It's just like a computer screen. So there's no paper on my screen. So
That's why I don't think Martin.
And you never thought that I would mention this, but I'm going to mention it. I'm going to mention Iron Maiden, Power Slave from 1984. We've got that Egyptian feel. Looks like we're going back in time to hang out in Egypt, for God's sakes. So, and all those Iron Maiden album covers are great. So I'm going to mention that. Who thought I would mention Iron Maiden, for God's sakes?
You're
But
not a
we'll get to
Maiden
that.
fan?
It's all right. It's all right. It's no
Very controversial.
it's no charlatans. I'll give it that. All right. And this other one, I'm not sure if I'm ready to present it or not, but okay. Next one, I'm going to go because I was the last one to put my list together. I'm going, oh my God, everybody's chosen everything. I was able to, this just popped into my head. Oh yeah, that Bee Gees album cover, Cucumber Castle from 1970, where they're dressed like knights. This is the album that's just Maurice and Barry. Robin, he split. He's pissed off. He's done. He quit. So, it was two of these guys putting this together, and I don't know if this album really did anything back in the day, but it does count. So that's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah, cool. Well, there's a good mention here. This is a good one. Smashing Pumpkins, Melancholy, and the in the Infinite Sadness, right?
Yep.
We've got Blue Cheer, the original Human Being, Styx, Crystal Ball, Happy Planet from Wall of Voodoo, says Kilroy here. Eagles Desperado, says Dan Durbridge. Alice Cooper, Greatest Hits. It's a good one. Led Zeppelin, In Through the Outdoor, with the old New Orleans sort of shot. Looks like 1940s, like a film noir kind of thing. Alternative Grease soundtrack cover. Everything Grease is going to look 50s, of course. Wings Band on the Run with that grainy old cop show, Keystone Cops kind of look to it. Operation Mindcrime, some alternate history, dystopian future. Devo Duty Now for the Future. Every Manowar album. Yeah, definitely for sure. So, all right, Jamie, what's up?
I'm surprised that didn't come up either.
Yeah.
All
right, guys. I enjoy our Wednesday nights together. It's the 2023 equivalent of guys' night out.
it is pretty much.
Yeah, it meant something different in my 20s and 30s. Totally different. So you take what you can get.
Yeah.
All right, I will go with Crosby, Stills, and Nash and Young, but I'm going to go with what is this, 99? I think it's 99.
99.
Looking forward, where you have not really looking forward at all. You have a kid looking at an old school reel-to-reel, so it's got to be probably this is either from the 70s or it was a kid from 99 with hipster parents who still had their old
whose kid
reel-to-reel.
is that? Whose kid is it?
I don't know. I don't know the history of this picture at all. It's old school. Now my theme for the next ones are pictures on the album of the artists when they were younger. And my first one of that, I'm going to go with, I thought I might be stealing Grant's thunder when I picked this one.
That's all right. I'm going to let you pick this.
Did you think of it? I'm going with Matthew Sweet's 100% Fun.
Yeah.
With a picture of Matthew Sweet on the cover from the 70s.
Yeah, when he was like 8.
On the headphones. Oh, man, I tell you what, Sick of Myself was my jam when that album came out.
Good record.
Yeah, I wasn't over a girl, and I was sick of myself when I think of her. Yeah, it just fit into how I was.
I saw him on that tour.
Oh,
well, I saw him twice on the Girlfriend tour as well.
I saw him at Easton for free.
I saw that too. I was there.
We were rubbing shoulders together and didn't realize it.
Right up front.
Nice.
Bob Seger, his last studio album, I Knew You When. I could not find that is definitely him, but I'm pretty damn sure.
Oh, that's him.
That's him.
Yeah, that's got to be him. But I couldn't find like in writing that it's him. But I assumed it has to be him. And then I'm going with Pete's favorite band, Everclear, with Sparkle and Fade, where the whole band is kids on there. Yeah, I gave Pete an Everclear album to listen to on the old school album homework assignment, and Pete was not first of all, he listened to the wrong album. And then I gave him the right one. He's like, it's a little better, but it's still kind of
well, which album? Remind me, which album did he listen to?
I gave him what's the volume 1 and 2?
American Stories or American
Jamie, I just
Songs.
saw that
volume
used
2 by mistake. I gave him volume 1, which is way better than volume 2.
I just saw that used in the cheap.
Sparkle and Fade's a masterpiece. That's a great album. Played that to death for years. Yeah, love it.
So there you go. Real quick, 10,000 Maniacs, old school picture of kids in an archery class. They had no idea they're going to be on an album cover when they got their pictures taken back in the whatever 50s. Betty by Helmet.
Oh, yeah.
That's a
very weird. That picture could be from anywhere between 54 and 94.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
Or in Led Zeppelin Presence, right?
Take on Plasmatics.
Yeah.
Miley Cyrus with her Plasmatics type thing, plastic hearts. Kind of like the Elvis thing, or the Clash Elvis thing.
Nice.
Excellent. Top notch.
Okay, we've got some mentions. Steve Poleri is here. Hi, Steve. Back at the John Lennon Plastic Ono band. Let's see. We got a rat invasion of your privacy because nobody's wearing French cut panties and bobby socks anymore. Okay. We've got.
But they should. Okay. We'll just.
All right, leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that.
All right. So my last four. I'm going to start with this one. I love this aesthetic when it happened. First of all, it's been done to death, I think, since. But when Stoner Rock kind of first started coming back in the mid 90s kind of thing, there's Fu Manchu with the awesome vans, cruising down the strip. We've got them on the back as well. The type styles on that. King of the Road is like an old 70s hit, right? Then you got Fu Manchu in Search Of, drag racing, a couple of old cars there. Looks like you got a Mustang and what is that, a Chevelle, I think. And then you've got even the skateboarding one is made to look like a 70s skateboarding type thing. The sun looked different back then, didn't it? Sunlight was different in the 70s. I don't know why it was, but there was no such thing as sunblock. Everybody just got sunburned and complained about it, right? But yeah, Fu Manchu, definitely that old.
That's a retirement band for me, as you would.
Oh yeah, a lot of good stuff there.
Everything's better when you're a kid, Martin. Everything's better.
Yeah, that's true.
And then Molly Hatchet, I went with a strange one. I'll back it up a little bit, but I went with No Guts, No Glory, because this is actually ironically more modern than their other ones, but it is because it's a photograph. But it's them all dressed as cowboys walking down the street, on the back, same kind of deal. So they're all dressed up like they're going to Wall Drug or whatever that tourist trap is.
Going to Wall Drug.
On our way to Wall Drug. But most of their other ones look legitimately old timey, as in old warrior times, of course, right? You got your various Molly Hatchet warriors going on. That one there. That one there. Oh, we don't need to see any more Molly Hatchet. We'll stop there. And then here's another one. This I always thought this was super spooky. Angel Witch, with the painting they had to get a shot and permission from. It's The Fallen Angels Entering Pandemonium by John Martin, courtesy of the Tate Gallery in London. So how best to prove your satanic cred by having something that imposing, right? Rather than have some kid do the illustration or whatever. So that's really cool. That always worked. It works on Bruce Dickinson's Chemical Wedding, and then you get sort of a pastiche of that sort of old-timey William Blake look on Tyranny of Souls as well. The Atomic Rooster actually is William Blake, and so is Chemical Wedding, I think, for that matter, right? And he was kind of a mystic, cool, guy. So I always forget how not old William Blake is, because I always consider him from the 16 or 1500s, but I think he's quite a bit later than that. Anyways, and my last one, let's see, did we go through that? I don't know why I have this out, because this isn't one of my picks, but the Cliff House, Blurstic Cult Imaginos. I've done that whole Imaginos book, and I'm going to do a follow-up one, and the Cliff House is in it all over the place through that book, but this thing burnt down. It burnt down, it got rebuilt, it burnt down again, the baths got burnt down, but this is the Cliff House in San Francisco, so it's long gone, but that's cool, old-timey, everything about that's old-timey and Frankenstein looking. But my last one was actually legitimately Opeth Damnation, and basically, I got a stack of Opeth here because they're all made to look like creepy old, scary funereal photos, right? Very archival. Even, My Arms, Your Hearse. Kind of hard to see what's in that one. But, not so much that one. Still Life certainly feels like an old-timey, everything's kind of Victorian feeling, right? Victorian times, early days of photography. How photography starts around 1840 for real. Kind of picks up through the 1850s, Blackwater Park, same kind of deal. So these almost look like experimental early photography of when photography became an art form, which is more like the 1920s, Man Ray and all that kind of thing, 20s, 10s, 30s. So photography became a legitimate art form, and a lot of these look like those early experimental photographs from that time kind of thing. So there you go. That's my last pick.
Awesome.
Well done.
All right. Peter Kerr, you're up.
Okay, so going back in time to around the 30s or 40s, Alice Cooper's greatest hits. I've always loved this album cover. So he's being a little bit badass and very retro, kind of Hollywood style 30s and 40s.
Yep.
So nothing much more to say on that. And I've segued it with Madonna. bedtime stories where she's trying to look like a 1930s starlet, maybe Jean Harlow, etc., etc. I love early Madonna. Don't like this period as much, but I think it suits the theme pretty well. All right. I've got a question. Whatever happened to Lenny Kravitz?
Yeah, exactly. Don't hear
Did he
from him
become
very
an
much,
actor?
eh?
I thought he was
Whatever happened to Lenny Kravitz? He was huge for a number of years. Are You Going My Way? That was in 1992, but he was like, it was just being played on radio ad nauseum. But he hasn't put an album since 2018. But this album was like huge in Australia and I think around the world. And there he is on the cover, and he's looking super fly, waiting for Pam Grier. It looks circa 1972. It's a great album cover, and it's like, whatever happened to Lenny?
True.
Are you there, Lenny?
Probably working on his pecs. I don't know.
I don't know. Let's finish off with a little bit of Ringo. Everyone needs a bit of Ringo in their life. Good night, Vienna. This is like retro sci-fi. I think it's the day the Earth stood still, and there's Ringo in 1974. So
I've never
not
seen
one of his better efforts, but anyway.
Nice.
Well, it's okay though. Good Night Vienna's a good track. I'll give it that.
We've got a mention for Simple Minds, Once Upon a Time from Kilroy here. Ashley has mentioned Jefferson Airplane After Bathing at Baxter's. We featured that on a show before, right? Rennie Arundel says, anyone say Technical Ecstasy? Yeah, that's got a kind of a cool old-timey feel to it too, doesn't it? With sort of the colors and everything. CCR's Mardi Gras, yeah, it's definitely old. Thin Lizzy with the cowboy pictures. Yeah, Billy Joel, 52nd Street. Cats in Space, Atlantis. Yeah, Megadeth, The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead. All right. Okay, over to Peter.
Hold on. Oh, I'm almost there. Yeah. Pete, you're up.
Can't hear him.
Pete, we lost your audio.
Sorry, I was on mute. My dog was being annoying before. I didn't want everybody to hear that.
That's okay. You'll get that.
All right, 1974, Steely Dan, Pretzel Logic. So this is as old school as it gets if you're a New Yorker, right? This is like the old school, old time hot pretzel guy, right? And this is a really old school cart. They don't look anything like that anymore. This was actually taken by Rayanne Rubenstein, okay, in a pretzel cart in Central Park in New York City, back in what looks like probably late fall, early winter. Looks like there's even some snow on the ground. So yeah, 15 cents for a pretzel.
Nice.
The good old days.
I'd like that price right now, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to 1975, Renaissance, Scheherazade and Other Stories. So this is actually a Hypnosis album cover here.
Wow.
But it was inspired by the 1888 classical symphonic suite by Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakoff called Scheherazade, and that's what the title track of this album is inspired by. So it just looks really, really old school. You got like monks and all sorts of people of power at the time and whatnot. So yeah, definitely going back to the 1800s there. And let's see. I'm going to stay in 1975. Minstrel in the Gallery by Jethro Tull. So here again, another 18, and again, this is actually an 1800s oil painting that was retouched a little bit to depict the members of the band up here, up on the balcony, but down below, you've got this painting by Joseph Nash, the 12th Night Revels in the Great Hall, Haddon Hall, Derbyshire. All right, so here you got minstrels, and all sorts of other stuff going, the Haddon Hall Country Estate. And if you look at it really carefully, there's all sorts of weird stuff going on, weird costumes and everything. But yeah, it just kind of takes you back to that time period, and then flip it over and you got back of the album is the guys standing up on similar type balcony. And then I don't have my physical copy for the last one, but let's go to 3. Don't Shoot Me, I'm Only the Piano Player from Elton John. So here you've got a movie theater marquee, which is inspired by the old movie theaters of the 1940s. That has the name of the album up there on top of it. It really gives it away when you look at the movie poster down there, which is advertising the Marx Brothers film Go West from 1940. Right, so try to take you back to that time in Hollywood and whatnot. So.
Nice.
Super.
Cool.
Awesome.
That Renaissance album cover reminded me of Green Lung.
Yeah, it's similar, right? Yeah.
But
I
this one
didn't
is
know
a bit
that
more
was
easy.
hypnosis. I had no
Yeah,
idea.
it doesn't look it.
No, it doesn't look like it.
Yep.
See, we're learning something here today, kids. It's just not us
Yes.
just spouting things off. It's an
Yeah.
education. All right. So
Hang on, we got to mention here
okay.
for Jethro Tull, Broadsword and the Beast, for that old mythical thing, UFO phenomenon for your 1950s UFO type shot, right? Kansas 2 for the show, mock-up of an old Norman Rockwell painting, says Joseph Francis Burton. We've got Lucifer's Friend, self-titled, says D. Rocker. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road gets a mention by Ashley again. Marion Hill, maybe the first Kansas album. Is that the one with the face made up of the fruit?
No, that's the guy, you know.
Mask.
Oh, that's Mask.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that I think is an old painting,
It's
right?
it's the army photo, the old.
Oh, the
Civil
army
War.
photo, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great
John
one.
Brown,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah. Hot tuna burgers. Yeah, that's made to look old timey, of course. So, all right, Grant, you're
All
up
right,
for
cool.
the
Here
last
we go.
batch.
All right. All right. Scroll. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go with, okay, here we go. We're going to go back to 1966. You know, in 1966, you know, we had Kiss dressing up. We had the Banana Splits dressing up. We mentioned that last week. But who was dressing up before that? Paul Revere and the Raiders. It was 1776. They carried the shtick until they ended, until Paul Revere died. They were dressed like this. But this is the original band. This is a great record. This is a garage band classic. But yeah, Paul Revere and the Raiders. Let's see, what else do I have here? Oh, we're gonna go with the Misfits. Now, you people I'm probably not one to talk about the Misfits, but this was originally from the 1946 film serial, The Crimson Ghost. So they adapted this as their mascot, but it's kind of going back in time. They're pulling it from 1946. So I figured, what the heck? Let's talk about the Misfits. Yeah. And it's a great image. You know, you can go on YouTube and see some of those serials, and it's a great costume and probably a great serial if I just sit down and watch it. Now, up next, we're kind of going to the future. I know it's not going backwards, but we're going ahead, and I'm going to bring up, because we keep bringing up Styx Kilroy's here, so I'm talking Styx. We're talking about censorship. We're talking about, you know, the banning of music, but this is a future. This is a time machine to the future, so we're bringing that
Maybe
up.
that's Easter Island before, like, erosion took off the you know, all the accoutrements there from
You
those
think
masks,
that could be it?
Yeah.
Hey, this ties into Pieces of 8. I don't know. It sounds like a show there, kids.
Yeah.
Okay. So my final one, I'm going to go with Night Ranger, 7 Wishes, 1985. What is that, a B-52 or something? They're in that bomber, and it's World War II. So this kind of speaks for itself. But yeah, time machine back to the World War. So,
Speaking of which, I was thinking of picking a B-52's album cover with the beehives.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would have been a good one.
Well,
First
speaking
one
of that, we
is-
got Swordfish Trombones, Tom Waits being mentioned by Rennie Arundel. And yeah, and Tom Waits, everything about him is made to look like an old guy, right? Like it looks like a gumshoe detective from the 40s, like Alice Cooper on Lace and Whiskey, or the way Jethro Tull looked old on this was, right? That whole sort of thing. So, Marion Hill tells us that Chris Allo loves the Misfits.
It was a tribute to Chris Allo.
Nice.
I'm going with
Kiss
that.
the Elder with the old door.
Yeah.
Triumph Never Surrender. But what's the Triumph one with the Leonardo da Vinci man thing on it? Is that that's the next one, I think. Is that not Sport of Kings, but Thunder 7?
Thunder 7,
Yeah, someone brought it up.
Yeah. Motorhead Bomber to match your Night Ranger and CU one. Joe Walsh Barnstorm. Is that the one with the old plane on it? The World War I kind of era plane? Running Wild album covers. Yeah. Anything with pirates. Any of the pirate metal stuff goes back to pirate times.
Yeah,
And
wasn't
puffy
it just
shirts.
Pirate Day? It was just like Pirate Day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Should have had that.
Yeah, we talked about that actually, didn't we? We got a lot of
Future
things
show.
going. Yeah. All right, we'll leave it at that. Grant, you can wrap her up.
All right, I just want to say Joseph Francis Burton Styx Kilroy was here, fits every conceivable category.
Exactly.
That is what I've been finding. I bet next
That
week
album
I can pull
cover.
Kilroy out and it'll work.
Yeah.
I bet
Folks, you'll see that album cover next week as well.
Yeah,
Whatever the
I hope
topic,
it doesn't
it'll be
become
there.
a thing like Pete and me doing the weather every morning. Every single category sticks Kilroy's here. Makes
Well,
it-
I tune in
makes
just
it
for the weather to know what's going on, and then back after that,
Who needs the Weather Channel when you got Friday morning at the Funhouse, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. So we wrapped up yet another show. I want to thank everybody in the chat. It was a lot of fun. We got a lot in the chat today, Martin. We took care of a lot of people.
Yep.
But we'll be back next week. I'm not sure what the title is. Someone may have it written down. I don't. But we will see you next week. I want to thank everybody. And based on that, I don't know. Thanks, gentlemen, for coming on. It was a fun discussion.
All right.
We'll
See you later.
See ya.
All right.
All right.
There you go.
Just gotta
Very
say,
good.